Hi, everybody. I am Jessica Koch, and you guessed it. This is another profound professional interview with us, and we feature industry leaders from all over the world. And today we have Dan Kapellen. He is the Profit Man and also creator of the Everyday Leadership. And we are so happy to have you today, Dan. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Jessica. Happy to be here.
So LinkedIn Live, yay! We've been doing Profound Professionals for over 3 years now and streaming it lots of other places. But the last few months, we've been streaming live on LinkedIn. So now we're one of the cool kids. We're super excited about that. So thank you for watching and sharing and commenting. Dan, I would love for you to share with us because how exciting is it to be called the Profit Man? So share with us a little bit about how that came about and also how you created the Everyday Leadership. So give us a little bit of your journey.
Well, yeah, I guess talking about Profit Man would be going toward the end of my journey, and then I'll circle back to how everything started. But basically, I participate in quite a number of local networking groups, and every couple of months I get the opportunity for a 20-minute presentation, and I talked about how to add money to the bottom line. And I have a number of ways to do that, as well as how to increase value and income. And somebody said, Dan, you're the Profit Man because you're telling us how to reduce expenses and how to increase revenues. So the in between is profit. So it really just kind of came as an offhand remark after one of my presentations during the Q&A period.
I love it.
And one of my passions is, working with and helping small businesses and helping people understand themselves. And part of the reason for that passion is because, early in my life, I just didn't get it. I grew up on a farm, and it was a farm in Wisconsin, and it influenced my early experience in the corporate world. So the farm was a truly mom and pop farm. It wasn't one of these big mechanized, operations that you see on TV or that you read about in the paper. It was just mom, dad, and the family. And during heavy lifting times, it was help from the neighbors or us helping the neighbors. But this was my first experience with being a solopreneur. We could barely make ends meet, but we took a great deal of pride in being self-reliant. And that becomes a downfall when you scale the impact that you're trying to make and you have to rely on other people. For example, the machinery that we work with for tilling and planting and harvesting was constantly breaking down because we couldn't afford new machines. So I watched my dad fix the machines, and ultimately I learned how to fix the machines. And we took a great deal of pride in being a jack of all trades, but that also meant that we were a master of none. So, 90% of our activities were confined to the immediate family, and I was the oldest in the family, so that meant just my dad and me. So I was actually the first person in our family and immediate extended family of cousins to go to college, and I received a master's in mechanical engineering, and I worked in the automotive industry after that. And this was really kind of my first experience in getting into teams where I had to collaborate with others. And we had to depend on each other for results. And we had certain accountability. And when I had to rely on somebody else, I was always frustrated because I couldn't get the results that I wanted. And it was because I didn't have the influence that I needed. And this continued over, some period of years. And I thought, okay, I need to think about why that's the case. And I had some mentors along the way who helped me and pointed out that, I really wasn't working in my own silo. I needed to incorporate other people into my world.
Mm-hmm.
And I took an MBA course on organizational behavior and marketing. And I liked what I was learning, so I completed an MBA. But even with those courses, I still thought in mechanical, self-reliant terms. For example, organizations put people in boxes on an organization chart.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was pretty good at connecting things and seeing where people fit, but that didn't help me with the relationship development.
Right.
Marketing, you say, okay, marketers, they should be good relationship people, but
Right.
the fact of the matter is marketing is really learning about who you're selling the products to.
Mm-hmm.
Salespeople are kind of gregarious, and I really wasn't a salesperson. I wasn't that relationship developer. I thought about what's the product, how should it be priced, where should we where should we be selling it, and
Mm-hmm.
how do we get people interested in it. So again, it was still that self-reliant, mechanical, step-by-step type of thinking and mindset. So, you know, and I don't consider myself a failure. I got promotions because I did get results, more in spite of myself than because of myself. Um, but I never in my career achieved the levels of success that I wanted to achieve. I'm not where I want to be, I think, in terms of the impact that I dreamed of. But I did have a couple of great mentors later in my career, and I've adopted some of what I learned from them. They recommended some books that were helpful, that helped me understand the importance of relationships and self-development. So that's what I'm working on now. And yeah, I'm a little bit later in years. I took an early retirement in 2009 because I was traveling the world and I just kind of burned out and took advantage of an early retirement. But now I've got the opportunity with new understanding and a new set of collaborative partners to really help small businesses, help small business owners, help team leaders um, create the kind of impact that they want.
So somewhere along the way, the light switch clicked for you, and you were impacted by some sort of a leadership mentor or leadership training, and pulling that teamwork and that leadership into your skill set and into the gift that you bring when you work with companies and leaders all over the country and all over the world. So share with us a little bit of how that occurred.
Well, it was a gradual process,
Mm-hmm.
but there were probably a series of aha moments, some good, some bad. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
share, some of the bad first, and then the good, because I think the good is where we grow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, After having experienced the bad, I at times had superiors that I worked for who would tell me um, what I should have done, even when
Mm-hmm.
I thought that I was doing what they had asked me to do or what our goals were. It
Mm-hmm.
was just that the communication wasn't clear enough in terms of what they thought I should be doing and what I thought I heard.
Mm-hmm.
When I worked for good leaders, they were very clear about what they expected, and they were very quick to redirect me to getting on track with what the vision was and what would be of most value to the company. And of course, what would be of most value to myself. And so contrasting that against the bad experience that I just described, I began to realize that alignment was, really important. Aligning what I was doing with the vision of the company, with the vision of my managers, with the division of the department that I was in, and then also aligning with my colleagues. The people who I had to rely on who weren't necessarily part of the department, weren't part of my team, so to speak, but who I had to communicate with and get some, information or uh, get some deliverables that would help me accomplish what it is that I was, looking to accomplish or needing to accomplish in order for the whole company to have success.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. So, give me one of your aha moments. Do you have something that you recall clearly?
Well, one of my managers recommended that I read Stephen Covey's the 7 Habits of Successful People.
Mm-hmm.
And in there, Covey talks about things that are important, things that are urgent, things that are important and urgent, they get the priority. Things that are urgent but not important, that maybe don't really need to be done right now or can
Mm-hmm.
perhaps be done by somebody else. Understanding the difference between important and urgent and the 4 quadrants that those fit into was a huge aha moment in terms of helping me prioritize, what I was doing, because I was working hard and I got a lot of compliments about how hard I worked, but I wasn't always getting the results. And
Mm-hmm.
part of, I mentioned one of the reasons I wasn't getting results. I didn't understand how to collaborate with people. I didn't understand really how to be effective in leading the team of people I was responsible for. But the other was in setting the priorities and understanding the difference between what was important, what was urgent, especially what was important and urgent. That's pretty much a no-brainer. But
Right.
understanding what's important, what's urgent, but not necessarily important, and that's really where I fell down. And also in terms of how I interacted with my reports. I might have them working on things that were urgent but not important, and that kind of frustrated them as well. So I needed to be a better leader myself in terms of giving clear direction and focusing that direction on what was important.
Well, and I think that that's really a huge point. So, talk to us about. I know you're doing a lot of speaking now and some leadership training in addition to the profit growth for companies. Talk to us a little bit about everyday leadership.
Well, everyday leadership is taking a look at the people that you want to influence. Leadership is influence, and
Mm-hmm.
and so let me give you a quick definition of how I define leadership. And it took me a long time to get to this definition, and then I'll circle back and tell you how that gets into everyday leadership. So, leadership is the process of influence which motivates effort toward achievement of a goal.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of influence is very important. And that influence comes into understanding the people that you're working with and the people who you need deliverables from or who need to deliver for the customers, the clients that you're working with. And everyday leadership is every day determining, number one, what is it that needs to be done? What is most important? And it could be something that's urgent. It could be important, but not urgent, which has a longer term benefit to it. And understanding who you have to influence in order to address the important and whether it is urgent or whether it's not urgent. And so these might be members of your team. It could be management. It could be colleagues. It could be people in the community.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the company that I worked for, we interacted with the local government in a number of
Mm-hmm.
ways,
Yeah.
and we had to influence them to make sure they understood that we were a good citizen, and that if they were considering some local rules or regulations that could adversely impact us, that we have the relationship with them, that they would come to us to say, look, we're contemplating this. We want to make sure that it doesn't adversely impact you. The other area of influence is with your family. My goodness, you spend 8 hours a day at work, and all the people that I just talked about are certainly important to that. But after you finish, you go home to your family, and you're going to carry home with you some of what you gathered during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there's things that you want your kids to do, you want your spouse to do. Maybe there are things that you need to be accountable for, but you fail to deliver on. And you need to communicate all of these things in a way that everybody gets on your side. And
Mm-hmm.
there's methods and techniques to do that. Um, and believe me, I failed in a lot of ways to do that, but I succeeded in a lot of ways to do that as well. And it comes through introspection. It comes through pausing during the day, perhaps on the way home in the car, perhaps during the day at your desk, perhaps just taking a pause when you do get home. But understand the importance of influence with the family, because your interaction with your family is going to ultimately influence what you bring to work the next day.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, tell us a little bit about the different ways a company could work with you from the profit side or from the leadership side. What are some ways we can work with you?
Well, I have really two businesses, and when I talk marketing to people, I tell people, just talk about one thing at a time, depending on who the audience is. So I'm kind of, violating my own rules and what I preach here.
I give you permission. So tell us a
You
little
give
bit
me
about the
permission.
profit side and a little bit about the leadership side, because truthfully, one client could use both of those.
Well, that's very true. Um, so I'll talk about the side first, in which I help businesses just add money to their bottom line, and I do that with a service for specialized tax credits. And a lot of businesses, they say, well, my CPA handles that.
Mhm.
Well, we work with the CPAs and the tax professionals, and you can think of them as your general physician. They
Mhm.
take care of your overall financial health, whether it be your budgeting or whether it be your taxes. But there's certain specialty areas that typically are created in a way that the big companies benefit from it. But I
Mhm.
work with a partner who's made that available for small companies. So we have become a specialist in helping businesses add money to their bottom line. So you can reach out to me, and I can tell you a little bit more about that. Or you can actually go to a website yourself. And Jessica, I don't know if you can put it in chat,
We'll put it
but
in the comments. Yep. After this is streamed. Yep.
okay, very good. The second way is with leadership. As I have worked with businesses, I've seen them struggle with leadership themselves, whether it be an executive, whether it be a team leader, a manager, and of course, team members. And from that, because of my leadership experiences and what I've learned over time and internalized as a result of things that I've done wrong and things that I've done right, I want to give people a shortcut. And I've created a course called Everyday Leadership.
Mhm.
And it's about what I was talking about earlier in terms of taking a 360-degree view of who you interact with, coming up with the goals you want from that interaction that will benefit both you as well as them, and then learning techniques for influence and using your own personal your own personal style, your own personal roadmap to apply that influence in a way that you align your desired results with the desired results of the person that you're interacting with. When both of you want to go in the same direction, where you both have the same why, it becomes a slam dunk. And, and in all honesty, there's going to be people that you don't align with. And you need to discern that as well, because they become a little less important to your circle of influence. And maybe, you do go a separate direction. I don't want to focus on that, but that is possible. The important thing is understanding the alignment, because with alignment comes influence. And that's what I bring across in the Everyday Leadership course.
Awesome. And we'll make sure they have a link to access that course as well. Correct?
Yes, they sure will.
All right. So the reason I bring amazing leaders, not just to share all their fantastic industry knowledge, but I also like to feature people who are doing and supporting different amazing things that are happening in our world of all kinds. And Dan actually has several. So share with us some other things that kind of make your heart sing beyond business.
Yes, I do have several. Some are local and some are global. So, just locally, the Chamber of Commerce, the local Chamber of Commerce, Lady Lake Chamber of Commerce in Florida, I'm very active in that. And they are going to have their first ever fireworks. And I am helping them to make it, just a fantastic experience for the local community. So they're raising money for that.
I think it's wonderful. I said, I think that's wonderful, because now more than ever, communities need things to lift their spirits and to come together. Our globe has been through so much, and I think fireworks is a fantastic way to do that.
Yeah, it really is, because it gets people excited and it brings the families together. The kids love it. I've never gotten over the excitement from watching fireworks. It just gets better and better. And of course, my local church, I'm active in that, and I want to see them succeed. And they are expanding and creating a greater, more giving community, not just within the church community, but outside as well, serving the people who need it. We have a food pantry that serves people in need locally. So that's certainly an area that I enjoy supporting. And then I'll just mention one more, and that's on a more global basis. I mentioned how I have a passion for helping small businesses. And I have interacted with so many entrepreneurs, managers, executives who want to elevate how they contribute, how they can increase their value. And the result for every single one of these people is that if they find ways to increase their value, they're going to increase their income as well. So not only benefit the people they're working with, but benefiting themselves as well. And I am working harder to get that message out to the world, because everyday leadership is something that can benefit every single person on the globe. And I would really love to impact in a positive way 100,000 leaders and potential leaders within the next 5 years.
That's awesome. I love that. Well, I want to thank everyone on LinkedIn and anywhere else you might be viewing this for taking some time to watch with us and sharing your comments and your thoughts and sharing this with others. We really appreciate you showing your love by taking action. Before we do say goodbye, though, to our amazing guests, I'd love to ask people something special. What's the one thing that has helped you in your success journey? Can you share something with us?
Well, thanks for asking. I'm going to give that to you in just a second because I've got one more thing for your viewers, Jessica,
Okay.
and it's a gift.
Oh,
This
wonderful.
gift is a 41-page ebook, and it is titled 10 Principles That Great Leaders Adopt and Use in Their Everyday Leadership.
Love it.
It's, normally would cost $197, but it has a priceless value. So we'll put that link in the chat so that they can download that gift, and it's theirs to read and profit from.
Awesome. I love presents. Okay, now
And
last
then the one thing that impacted my success journey was reading the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller.
well, there you go.
It's funny that you asked me the one thing.
The
And
one thing, ladies and gentlemen, is the one thing. The one thing, you got that? You wrote that down, is the one thing.
The one thing is the one thing. And what you really impacted me about it, because, I just like enjoying everything. I mentioned being a jack of all trades and taking great pride in it. But what I learned from that book is to focus on one thing, one thing at a time. And it's helped me focus every single day when I wake up. And I think if you read it, you're going to find the same thing for yourself.
Yeah, the one thing is fantastic. And the other one that's very similar to that I've just finished with the mastermind is called The Power of Focus by Jack Canfield. And that was a fantastic mastermind. I really enjoyed doing that. Has a lot of, every chapter has action steps, and it's great to kind of collaborate and go through that book with a group, because that can be very powerful. Well, is there anything else you'd like to say before we sign off here? Dan, are you good?
Well, yeah, I'm good. You're a great interviewer. You really led me through a lot of things and did your best to keep me on track.
Well, thank you, everyone. Again, this is another Profound Professionals, and I always close pretty much the same way. Be kind to yourself and be kind to each other, and we'll see you next time on Profound Professionals. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.